You sit before me with eyes that have seen too much and lips that tremble with unspoken knowledge. You do not yet fully understand the power you hold because you have spent your life making room for others inside yourself, clearing space in your psyche to accommodate their chaos, their hunger, their grief. You, the empath, have become the quiet sanctuary in a world of shrill demands. And yet, if you wonder why your silence feels like thunder to those who once ignored your cries, let me tell you a secret. When the empath walks away, it is not out of cruelty, weakness, or resignation. It is an archetypal movement, a cosmic shift, the culmination of a sacred alchemical process. The empath's exit is not an act of vengeance. It is a revelation. For when the one who carried everyone's burden finally lays it down and disappears into stillness, those who fed on that warmth are left to shiver in the absence of light. In every relationship, there exists an unconscious dynamic, a dance of projections and shadows. The empath, by nature, absorbs what others refuse to feel. You do not merely listen, you become. You merge with the pain of the other and call it compassion. But what is compassion without boundaries? What is love if it consumes the one who gives it? The empath's gift is also their curse. The boundary between self and other becomes so thin, so porous, that the wounds of the world seep in. For a time, you believe this is your calling to be the healer, the soother, the quiet anchor. But in this dynamic, you are not seen. You are useful, you are nourishing, but you are not known. And therein lies the tragedy. There is a moment sacred and terrifying when the empath wakes up. It rarely comes with anger or rebellion. It is quiet, like the realization that dawn has arrived while the stars are still dim in the sky. You begin to feel the dissonance, the aching distance between your inner self and the life you have built around accommodating others. You begin to hear a voice from deep within. It is not loud, but it is ancient, and it says simply, enough. This voice does not speak from the ego. It is the self, what Jung called the totality of the psyche, the union of conscious and unconscious, of light and shadow. When the self begins to stir, when the soul becomes weary of fragmentation, you can no longer betray your inner truth to sustain external harmony. You must withdraw not out of punishment, but out of necessity. The soul requires integration, and integration demands solitude to those around you. This exit appears sudden. They do not see the inner earthquakes that have preceded it, the years of suppressed pain, the tiny deaths of your authentic self. To them, you were always available, always forgiving, always kind. Your absence feels violent because it disrupts the illusion. It exposes the imbalance. The empath, once invisible, becomes a mirror. This is where the revenge lies, not in cruelty, but in clarity. When you leave, you remove the anesthesia. Those who once leaned on your emotional labor must now confront the void. The silence becomes a magnifying glass. Your departure casts light on the dynamics they refuse to see. It is not your intention to hurt, but your awakening forces them to witness their own shadow. Imagine a house with many rooms, each filled with people asking something of you. One needs comfort, another weeps, another rages. You move from room to room, absorbing, soothing, fixing. But one day, you notice a door you had never seen before, small, almost hidden. Behind it is a staircase leading downward. You descend into the basement where no one waits for you, where no one calls your name. It is cold, it is silent, and for the first time, you hear your breathing. You see a mirror on the wall. The face is tired, but beneath the weariness is something fierce, something eternal. The image whispers, "Come back to me." That is the moment of individuation, the sacred turning inward. The house above will collapse without your tending, but you do not return. You close the basement door and begin the real work, the integration of your true self. Every person you saved projected their wounds onto you, but you also played a role. You accepted the projection. You took it as a form of meaning. In their pain, you found your purpose. But this was not love. It was a contract born of the wounded child within you who long ago learned that to be loved, one must be useful. You must meet this shadow, the part of you addicted to being needed, the part that confuses validation with intimacy, the part that fears, deep down, that without service, you are nothing. You must declare, I will no longer offer my soul in exchange for scraps of affection. There is a concept in alchemy called the nigredo, the blackening, the night of the soul. It is the phase where all structure dissolves, where the old identity dies, and the new has not yet emerged. You are no longer who you were, but you are not yet who you are becoming. You are molten. You are becoming sacred fire. Those who benefited from your old form will panic. They will try to lure you back with guilt, with accusation, with sudden affection. They will say, you've changed. You must say, yes, thank God. They will say, you used to be so kind. You must say, I am still kind, but now I am kind to myself first. They will say, I need you. You must say, I needed me too, and I was gone too long. This is not cruelty. This is clarity. You begin to reclaim every piece of yourself that was scattered across the psyche of others. Every apology that was never necessary, every overextension masked as kindness, every inner no twisted into an outer yes. This reclamation sends ripples through the energetic field. Others feel it suddenly. They sense something missing. But it is not just you. It is the supply, the source, the stability you offered, while they unconsciously took. You had been a wellspring, unspoken and unquestioned. When you stopped pouring, they were left staring into a dry basin, unfamiliar with the effort of drawing water from their depths. Your energy changes. Your very frequency shifts. You become unrecognizable to those who once read you like a manual. They cannot locate the guilt in your eyes anymore. They cannot trigger the savior in your soul. This is the slow unveiling of true power, not domination or manipulation, but sovereignty. The power to be whole in the presence of others. The power to feel their feelings without absorbing them. The power to say yes when it is true and no when it is kind. You are no longer a sponge for pain. You are a vessel for beauty. The same sensitivity that once exhausted you now becomes your compass, your creativity, your magic. You begin to attract resonance, not just comfort or familiarity, but truth. Those who can meet you in authenticity, who do not require your betrayal to love you, begin to appear. Your boundaries, once invisible, are now energetic walls. Your silence, once mistaken for passivity, now speaks of power. Some will call you hard, but you are not hard, you are clear. Clarity is not cruelty. It is just rare. This is why your quiet exit wounds so deeply. Not because you wounded anyone, but because your wholeness exposes their fractures. Your refusal to play the role forces them to meet themselves. You cannot carry them across the threshold. You can only walk it first, torch in hand, and trust that your light will inspire, not rescue them. The empath's quiet exit is the final alchemy. You were never meant to carry their pain forever. You were meant to remember your light. In choosing yourself, you offer the world the highest gift. Not your compliance, not your sacrifice, but your example. The quiet exit was never about punishment. It was always about permission. The permission to be real, to be whole, to be free. Let your wholeness be your revolution. Let your peace be your flame. And so it is.